This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so I think in the last session we have discussed how to create a database using command and also using wizard and what are the recovery files. Okay, so that means what are the data files we have here and why we call them as the recovery files. Okay, so we discussed that part and also how to take the backup. So how to take the backup and how to use that backup file to restore the database. So we discussed that part okay, in the last session, I think. Right. So
Yes.
let us see how to create a table. So I think we discussed that, right? So the database model we use for any relational database is a RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. So here we have to define the tables and we give relationship among the tables so that we can maintain the data logically in those tables. And when you maintain the data logically in those tables, we can able to fetch the data and use the data according to our requirement, according to our functionality. So that is the advantage here. So we have different data models, actually database models like hierarchy, parent, child, like this. We have different database models, but so they have their own limitations actually. Okay, so relational database. So currently we are using this relational database, and the accuracy. Okay, that means it is very efficient to maintain the data in a logical way, and also when you want to fetch the data and use it for analysis, it will be very easy for us to fetch data from these tables. Now here, let us discuss how to create tables within a database and using wizard and okay, using command, and how to modify the table structure. Okay, so we'll try to complete that part today, and later we'll discuss how to give relationship among the tables and how to create data models. We'll discuss that part later. Okay, so I want to maintain um, an entity. Okay, that means whenever in the database we maintain an entity numerical and non-numerical data in one table. Okay, I think we already discussed that part. So if you want to maintain 20 entities data, so we have to create 20 different tables in the database. So that is the way we maintain the data in the database. But if you go for data warehouse, the data warehouse that is totally different. Okay, so we maintain the data in the form of a tables only, but the approach we follow to maintain the data is totally different in the data warehouse. Okay, in the data warehouse we'll be having fact tables and dimension tables. So fact table is nothing but where we maintain numerical data of several entities, and dimension table means where we maintain the non-numerical data. We can call that a master data. Okay, so in the dimension tables. So in the data warehouse, the tables are different. That means we maintain the data in the form of a tables only, but the approach is different, and we maintain the data in the form of fact tables and dimension tables. But here in the database, we maintain the data. We maintain an entity numerical and non-numerical in one table. So that's the difference. So let us see how to create tables and how to maintain the data. So here my entity is employee. I want to maintain employee details. So so I want to maintain employee details here. So to maintain employee details, I'm creating a table with a name employee. That means I want to give a table name as an employee to maintain the employee details in the table. So let me show you. So directly I'm writing the command here. So create table employee. Okay. So we specify the attributes here. That means table is nothing but it's a collection of columns and rows, right? So normally at the column level, we specify the attributes. So attributes are nothing but the column names, or we can call them as a fields. At the row level, we specify the records. So record is nothing but the column values. Okay. So record is nothing but it's a collection of column values. So normally in the database in a table, we maintain the data in the form of a records only. So record is nothing. It is a collection of column values. Let me show you. So employee ID and the data type integer. INT stands for integer. So here, I think already we have discussed that, whenever you want to maintain any entity, so we identify, okay, we identify an entity using their IDs only. For example, if you want to identify an employee, we identify an employee using their employee ID. If you want to identify order, we identify the order using order ID. Okay, so any type of entity we identify using IDs only. So ID is the primary key column for any entity. So others are all dependent columns, we can say. Okay, so other attributes are all dependent on the primary column. So employee ID, and so employee ID can be numerical and also alphanumerical. Okay, it can be both numerical and alphanumerical. So so here I'm maintaining numerical data. That means I want to consider numerical values and employee, okay, IDs here. Next is employee name and integer. So actually we need to assign what type of data you want to save in that column. Okay, we specify that by assigning the data type. Okay, so integer data type. So integer, it allows the only numerical values. Okay, it allows only numerical values into that column. When you try to give some okay, any date value or any string data, so it won't accept that. The column, okay, won't accept that data because of the data type integer. So what type of data you want to save in that column, so we specify that by assigning the data type. Okay, so next is here employee name. So employee name is a string data, right? So we have to assign string data type, okay, on this column. So normally string data types, we have two categories here. Okay, under the string data type we have two categories. One is called non-Unicode data type and other is Unicode data type. Okay, so the difference is the memory allocation. So non-Unicode data type reserves 1 byte of memory for one character. So whereas the Unicode data type reserves 2 byte of memory for one character. Okay, so I told you, right? So these are all memory okay, management only. So database is a memory space. Table is also a reserved memory space where we maintain the data in a structured format. Okay, so so whenever you want to maintain the data, first we have to reserve the memory. Okay, so here for the string data types, we have two categories. One is non-Unicode and Unicode. So non-Unicode data type, it reserves 1 byte of memory for one character. Unicode data type reserves 2 byte of memory for one character. Okay, so that's the difference. So let me show you. So non-Unicode data type means it can be char or it can be varchar. So any text. Okay, so these are all the non-Unicode data types. Okay, so let me give that. This is the column width. So column width means we can call that as a data type size or we can call that as a column width. That means the value length. So the value length, what you want to save in that employee name column, the maximum length of that value can be of 50 characters. Okay, that means it can reserve memory for 15 characters. Okay, if the length based on that length, so that means the value length can be of 50 characters only. So if the value length is beyond 50 characters, it can't reserve memory after it. Okay, beyond the 50 characters. Okay, so that is the column width, or we can say that is the data type size. So you can change that value according to requirement. Okay, and we have here char data type. So char data type means we have certain limitations with that data type. When you assign char data type on any column, okay, it reserves memory for 50 characters at a time, irrespective of the value length. Okay, so irrespective of the value length, it reserves the memory. That means char data reserves the memory for 50 characters. Okay, so for example, I want to save your name in that. So maybe your name length is of 5 characters or 6 characters. Okay, so it is enough to reserve memory for 6 characters, right? So no need to reserve memory for 50 characters actually. But char data, what you do, it reserves the memory for 50 characters, irrespective of the value length for that value. So remaining 44 characters or 45 characters memory is a wastage. We can't use it for any purpose. Okay, so that is the limitation with the char data type. So to overcome this limitation, we go for the varchar. Okay, so we go for the varchar of 50. Okay, so varchar of 50 means it is a variable character. So that means this data type reserves the memory for that means it reserves the memory for that value according to the value length. Okay, if you I want to save my name in that column. So my name is for 4 characters. So varchar data type reserves memory for 4 characters only. Okay, so it saves remaining 46 character memory. So that is the varchar. And these are the non-Unicode data types. Non-Unicode data types means it reserves 1 byte of memory for 1 character. Okay, if it is a Unicode, so we have to use n varchar. So that is a Unicode data type. Clear? So n varchar, nchar, these are the Unicode data types. So normally in real world, so we assign Unicode data types only or any column. Clear? Any questions? And next attribute is salary.
Daga, I have one more question. Like here we write the employee ID, integer, employee name. So we don't need to write like the whole thing. Just we have to write EMP ID and E name.
It is up to you. So
Okay.
there are according to that means you can see that blue color, right?
Yeah.
So that's text. We can't change that.
Okay.
The green color you can give anything.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So that is the thing. And salary attribute. And I want to save some currency values in that column. So when you want to save some currency values, we assign a data type money. Okay. So you will find that only in the Microsoft SQL. So if you go for Oracle or anything, there you find decimal. You don't find any money data type. Okay. So money data type is nothing but decimal only. Okay. So when you want to maintain some currency values, we use that. Clear? So here I'm creating a table. That means I want to create a table employee with 3 attributes: employee ID, employee name, and salary. Okay. Simple. Now, if you observe, we are in the master database. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So we are in the master database. I want to save this database. I want to save this table in our database. Okay. So, but we are in the master environment. So one way to do that is click on the drop-down list here and select the database according to requirement. That is one way. And other ways, we can use a keyword called use. Okay. I want to save this table in the Mandy database. Like that. Okay. So now let me select this and execute it. And you can see command completed successful. So when you refresh the database folder, when you expand the database and tables, so there you find a table. Can you see the table?
Yeah, DB.
And if you see there is a DBO dot employee. DBO stands for a database object. Okay, and we can call that as a default schema. Okay, so it is a database object and we call that as a default schema. I told you, right? So tables, views, stored procedures, all these are the database objects. Okay, when you create anything, so automatically you'll get that database object as a prefix. That means DBO as a prefix, and we call that as a schema, a default schema. Schema is nothing but defining the tables and giving relationship among the tables within the database. Okay, so that's the schema. So if you want to give a schema, you can give you can give another schema also. That means you can change the schema name also there. Okay, so that's the way to create a table. And when you expand the table, and you will find the structure. Can you see that? So you'll find the column folder, keys folder, so constraint folder, triggers, indexes, and statistics. Okay, so these are the table structure. Actually, I didn't give the table structure, so that is a predefined structure. You get it from the model database. Okay, if you create any table, you'll get that folders automatically. So that is a predefined structure. Okay, so when you expand the column folder, you'll find the column names, all the attributes that you want the table. So employee ID, employee name, and salary. Okay, so there you find data types and the constraint. Can you see the constraint there? So constraint is nothing but a rule or restriction. So you can see null. So by that is a standard constraint you'll find on every column. Okay, so null constraint means if you don't give a value for that column, so that null constraint replaces that empty space with a null value. Okay, so that's the constraint. So constraint is nothing but a rule, or we can call it as a restriction. So we'll discuss that later. When we go for constraint concept, we will go for that. Okay. So now, so this is the way to create a table using command. Okay. So using CUI environment. Now let us see how to create a table using GUI, okay, graphical user interface. So for that, you'll find table folder. You can see that. So right click on the table folder. So there you
Wait,
find new.
what? I'm sorry. What did we use before to create a table, and what we're using now? What did you call that?
This is the CUI environment.
Okay, CUI. Okay.
Yeah. So can you see the contextual user interface?
Yes. Okay.
And this is in the contextual user interface, we write the commands for our function. Okay. So and the GUI, graphical user interface, no need to write any command. So just right click on the table folder.
Okay.
So there you find option new table. Can you see? So click on that new table, and you can see the structure. So here just give the column names, because to create a table, so columns are the inputs for a table, right? We have to give the column names as in inputs for to create a table. So I'm giving ID, so integer. So if you observe here, these are all the data types you will find in the SQL Server. Can you see that? So these are all the data types we have, but we don't use everything. So these are all the data types. And department name, so VACA, location, VACA. So I want to create a table with 3 attributes: ID, department, and location. Okay. So let me save this, and let me give a name, department. So click on OK. Now when you refresh the table folder, can you see the department? So when you expand this, you'll find the columns, attributes, everything. Clear?
Naga, can you show me this point one more time from starting, like how you create the?
Just right click on the table folder.
Okay.
So there you find a new table option. So select that. So automatically you get the attributes. That means the environment.
Oh,
Just
okay.
give the column names there. Okay. And down you'll find the properties also. If you want to assign some properties on the column, you'll find the properties down. Okay, you can check the properties. Okay. So that's it. So this is the way to create a table using command and also wizard. Okay. So next is that's about the create command. So next is alter command. So alter command means when you want to modify a structure or a part of the structure, so we go for the alter command. Okay. So here my structure is a table. So let us see how many ways we can modify table structure. Okay. So if you observe, a table have only 3 attributes where we can maintain ID, name, and salary. That's it. I want to maintain more details of employee, okay, in the table. Okay, I want to maintain more details of that employee in the table. So when you want to maintain more details of the table in the table, we have to add more attributes. Okay. So we have to add more attributes to the table to maintain more details. So let us see how to add attributes to the existing table. Because to add the attributes to the table, no need to drop it and again no need to create it again. Okay, so we can add attributes to the existing table. So adding attributes to the existing table is nothing but modifying the table structure. So that is the one way of modifying the table structure. So let me show you. So adding attributes to table structure, to the existing table. Okay, so adding attributes to the existing table. So let me show you the syntax. Okay, so first let us see in how many ways we can modify table structure. So one way is adding attributes to the existing table, and other is I don't want a specific attribute. Okay, I don't want a specific attribute of the table, so I want to delete it. So deleting an attribute from the from table is also a modification. Okay, and we do that using alter command. Okay, we perform that using alter command. And changing column data type. So this is also one type of modification. So whenever you want to change the data type of any column, we can do that using alter command. And changing data type size. Okay, so changing data type size. This is also one type of modification. So that means we can modify the tables in we can modify the table structures in 4 ways. So adding an attribute to the existing table is one modification. Deleting an attribute is another modification. Changing column data type is one more modification, and the changing data type size is another modification. Okay. So now let's see how to perform this, and let us discuss about syntaxes also. So whenever you want to modify a structure or a part of the structure, we use the alter command, and these are the ways to modify table structure. Now let me show you the syntax. I want to add some new attributes to the existing table. So alter table name. Okay, add column name data type. So that's a way to add the attributes to the existing table. So let me show you. So alter table employee, add column name. So I want to add age, okay, and the data type is integer, and I want to add multiple columns to the existing table at a time using single command. Okay, so I want to add gender. So at the same time, okay, I want along with the age, I want to add the gender also. So gender char of 6. So just we need to separate that use by comma, and date of joining, date, and department ID, integer. Okay, so that is the syntax. So now let me, so you can see I'm adding 4 attributes to the existing table at a time. Okay, let me select this and execute it, and you can see command completed successfully. And well, let me refresh the column folder, and can you see that? See the structure. So earlier there are 3 attributes, now there are total 7 attributes. So that's the modification. Okay. So next is so deleting an attribute from the table. So do you remember when you want to delete a structure or a part of the structure? So which command we use to do that? Do you remember that?
Wait, what?
I want to delete a part of the structure. So we use a command to delete a structure or a part of the structure. So what is that command? So I told you, right? So whenever you want to delete a structure or part of the structure, we use a drop command.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let us see. So drop column name, because I want to delete a column, right? So that is a command to drop a column. But dropping a column is not dropping entire table. So dropping a column is just modifying the table structure. So if you want to modify this table structure, we have to use alter command. So alter table name. So drop column. That is a command. Let me show you. So here I don't want the date of joining. Okay, I don't want that attribute. So alter table employee drop column. The column is date of joining. Okay, so let me select this and execute it. And if you want to drop multiple columns at a time, you can do that. Just separate that columns using comma. That's it. Okay, now when you refresh the column folder, and you don't find the date of joining. Okay, so that is a other type of modification. Okay, so next is changing column data type. So data type is a column property, right? So whenever you want to change the column property, so we need to alter the column, and if you want to alter the column, we need to alter the table. Okay, so that is the command. So alter table name. So this is to change the to alter the column. So alter column name. This is to change the data type. Okay, so new data type. So that's the command. So alter table employee, alter column. So let me take salary column here. I want to change the data type from money to decimal. Okay, I want to change the data from money to decimal. So decimal 10,2. So 10,2 means I want to reserve the memory for 10 characters. After 10 characters, I want to reserve the memory for 8 characters before the decimal point, and I want to reserve the memory for 2 characters after the decimal point. Okay, so that is the 10,2. So let me select this and execute. So command completed successful, and let me refresh the column folder. And can you see that?
Yeah.
So decimal 10,2. So that's the way to change the data type. Okay, so of any column. So next is data type size. So data type size means can you see that that is nothing but column width. Can you see that 50 10,2? So that is the column width. If you want to change the column width, so we use the alter command, and we use the same command here because column data type and data type size, both are the properties of a column, right? So if you want to change them, we need to alter the column. So alter table name employee, alter column. So let me take employee name, and the data type is nmarka. And I want to change that I want to change from 50 to 200. Select this. Okay, let me select this and execute it. And can you see that? So let me refresh the column folder, and can you see the change?
Yeah.
So I changed that from 50 to 200. So that's the way to alter the table, to modify the structure of a table using alter command. So the syntaxes are very important. I think it is clear. So if you have any questions, please. Is everything good?
Everything is good, Naga.
Yeah. So next is drop command. So drop command means, I think already we discussed that. So whenever you want to delete a structure, part of the structure, we go for drop command. And we have seen how to drop a column from a table. So let us see how to drop a table from the database, and also how to drop a database from the server. Okay, so I want to delete that department table. I don't want a department table. Okay, so for that, so drop table name. Okay, and I want to drop a database. So drop database. So database name. Okay, so let me select this. So when you refresh the table folder, you don't find the department table. Can you see that?
Oh.
And let me drop the database. Okay, when you refresh the database folder, you don't find the database. Can you see that? Is there any database test underscore? So there is no database. So we drop the database using drop command. Okay, so that is
Naga, once we drop the database, so how we get back? For example, if we drop accidentally, how we get back the database?
If you have a backup file, we can restore that.
Oh,
if we don't
okay.
have the backup file, we can't, because we deleted that permanently.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Do we select both drop table and drop database, or we just select drop database and execute?
Pardon me?
Which did you select both of them when you were doing this, or you just selected drop database?
I selected individually, but if you want to execute both commands at a time, you can select it.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Right. But some other for other scenarios, for other commands, when you want to execute a group of commands as a single unit, so we need to use begin and block. Actually, that is different. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll see that later. So actually, that comes under the advanced SQL, and we are discussing SQL. What is important for Tableau? So advanced SQL is not important for Tableau. Okay. So that we don't use any concept, any advanced SQL concept in Tableau, and even we don't use all these also in the Tableau. Okay. So to first, that means we need to know how to analyze the data using commands, SQL queries. So for that, okay, we have to discuss that part actually, but without creating a database, without knowing how to create a table, it is a little bit difficult to do that, right? So that's why we're discussing all this. Okay. So normally we don't use all this in the tab. Okay. So next is truncate command. Actually, truncate command it is used to delete only the data, right? So when you want to delete only the data, so we go for the truncate command. So, but here we don't have any data in the table. Okay, just we created the table structure. We don't have any data. So first, let us insert the data into the table. After that, we'll see how to perform truncate and how to perform delete on the table. Okay. So next is Dml commands. So under that, the first command is insert. So when you want to define the data and when you want to insert the data into a table, so we use this command. Okay, I told you, right, we maintain the data in a table in the form of records. Okay, so record means it is a collection of column values. Okay, let's see how to insert the data into a table using the form of a record. So insert into employee values. Okay, now let me do the records. So 100, and that is for employee ID. This is the structure, right? So 100 is for employee ID, and employee name is let me give some name. Okay, and salary and age, gender, department ID. So if you observe, I enclose that string values within single quotes. Okay, so that means if you want to give some string data or any format data, you have to enclose that within single quotes. That is mandatory. Okay, so you can enclose the numerical data also within single quotes, but it is not mandatory to enclose numerical data within single quotes. But if you want to define, if you want to save any string data or any format, okay, any format data, so we have to enclose that within single quotes. Okay, so now let me select this and execute it, and you can see one row affected. Okay, so these are the DML operations, right? So we perform operation on the records. So that's why it shows one row affected, two rows affected, like that. If it is a DDL commands, it will show us command completed successfully because it performs the operation on the entire table. Okay, so now I saved some data I've saved a record in the table. I want to see the data. Okay, so whenever you want to see the data, first we have to fetch the data from the table. So to fetch the data from the table, we use select command. Okay, so select start from employee, and here as this is asterisk symbol, so that is to indicate, that means when you want to retrieve every, okay, that means if you want to see all column values, okay, of the table, so we use asterisk symbol. So in real world, a table consists of minimum 20 columns. Okay, so if you want to see every column value, so better we use asterisk symbol like that. Okay, we can't specify each column name here to see that. Okay, now let me select this and execute it. And can you see that? So the data will be like this. Okay, and here normally in real world we don't use this asterisk symbol. That means we don't fetch everything from the table, every column value from the table, because we don't need every column value for our scenario. Okay, for example, we have 20 columns in the employee table. But according to my scenario, I just want only 20. I just want only 10 column data. So we don't use asterisk symbol. It affects the performance. It degrades the performance. Okay, that means we are retrieving unnecessary column data also. So again, for that we have to resolve the memory, and okay, it takes more time. So it affects the performance. So to increase the performance, so whatever the column values you want, just I specify that columns here. I want employee ID, name, and salary. Specify that columns here instead of using asterisk symbol. Okay, so that is the concept. Now here, I inserted only one record at a time, so I can insert multiple records at a time. So let me copy this, comma, separate the records using comma. So 101. Okay, so just give the salary here. Age and gender and department. And one more, I want to maintain one more employee details. So 102, the ID for that employee is 102. So let me give some name. Like this. Okay, so like this we can insert multiple records into a table. Let me select this and execute it. So 3 rows affected. Let me select the data from the employee table, and can you see that? So total we got 4 records. Okay, so 4 records means, actually if you observe, the first 2 records are duplicates. Can you see that? So I inserted a record which are already there in the table. Okay, so actually we have to restrict this duplicate data going to a table. So normally we need to restrict the duplicate data going to table, we need to assign some properties on that. We'll discuss about that later. Okay, so but actually we have to restrict that, but here I didn't have any, I didn't assign any property on that column, so on the table, so it allows the duplicate data. Okay, so that's the way, and this is the way to insert the data into your table using command. Let's see how we can insert the data into a table using wizard. So right click on the table, so there you find edit top 200 rows. Can you see that? So click on that edit top 200 rows and just give the values, and here I'm using tab key. To go to the next cell, I'm using tab key. Okay, you can see that. Now let me select the data from the table employee, and can you see that? I got the 5th record also. So that is the way to insert the data into table using wizard. No need to write any command. Okay, just give the values to each column and just use the tab key to go to the next column. Okay, so this is the way to insert the data into table. And if you observe, I'm giving value for every column of a table. Okay, so we get a situation where we have to give values for specific columns only. Okay, I don't want to give value for every column, I want to give value for specific columns. So let's see how we can do that. So insert into employee. So I want to give values for employee ID. So that is 104, and employee name and the salary. I don't want to give value for age, gender, department ID. So let me select this and execute it. And can you see the error? So column names or number of supplied values doesn't match the table definition. So that means the number of columns in the table is 6, and I'm just giving values for 3 columns, and it even specify that columns. So they're mismatching, right? 6 columns and 3 values. So that's why you got an error. Now we need to specify to which columns, that means to which column this we want to assign this data. So we need to specify that columns here. So employee ID. So that means 104 is for employee, right? So employee ID. and the name
Employee name.
and salary, just like that. So you have to change the table structure when you want to give values for specific columns. Let me select this and execute it. So OneDrive affected, and let me select the data from the table employee, and can you see that?
Yes.
And if you observe, so we got a nulls here. Can you see that? This is because of null constraint. I didn't give any value for columns, right? So we don't give any value for the columns, automatically takes the null values because of this null constraint. Okay, so this is another way of inserting the data into table. And one more is using union operator. So union operator is very important. In the Tableau also you'll find union operator. So union means when you want to combine two or more select statement result sets as a single unit, we go for the union operator. Let me show you. Select 105. Okay, this is one record, and select 106. This is another select statement. If you observe, the structures are same. The two select statement structures are same. So here we are defining for 6 columns, and here also 6 values. Okay, and the data, the type of data is also same. Now let me execute this. When you execute these two commands here, and it will give you like this. Can you see? It is giving me individual outputs. But what I want here is I want to combine these two results as a single result set. That means I want to combine the two select statements as a single result set. So for that we use union operator. So union. Let me select this and execute it. And can you see that? So I combine the two statements as a single result set. So that is the union operator. So the we can able to do that only when the two select statement structures are same. Okay, if the structures are different, we can't able to combine them. So the two select statement structure should be same. Okay, now what I do, so now this is same like an employee table structure. Let me insert this data into employee table. So insert into employee. That's it. Now let me select this and execute it. So 2 rows affected, and let me select the data from the table. So can you see that? Okay, so we got that 2 records also. So that is the insert command, and that is the way to use the union operator to combine select statements as a single result and insert the data into a table. Okay, so this is about the insert command. Any questions, please? So do you have any questions?
Oh.
So next is update command. So update command means whenever you want to change the column values, we use the update command. So for example, here if you see the 6th record, okay, age, gender, department ID. If you observe age, gender, department ID, so the values are nulls. So I want to give a proper valid data for these 3 columns. Okay, I want to give a valid data for these 3 columns. Let us see how to do that. So we use that for using we do that using update command. So update employee set age is equal to, okay, gender, male, and department ID. Let me use some 30. So if you execute this command, it will update every row, age, gender, department ID value. Okay, so but I don't want to change every record age, gender, department ID value, right? I want to change a specific row, age, gender, department ID values. Okay, so when you want to change, do that, okay, for specific rows, we have to identify that rows So to identify the rows, we use where clause.
Number 6.
Yeah. So where, not number 6. It is not an data. Okay. So we identify that using any column value. So here I'm identifying the record using employee ID. So where employee ID is equal to 104.
104.
Okay. Now let me select this and execute it. So one row affected. Let me select the data from the table employee. And can you see that?
104. 26 female, 30 department ID here.
Okay. So that is the concept. Clear? So this is about update command and insert command, and also select and create alter commands. Just go to this. The syntaxes are very important. Just go to that, practice it, and if you find any, if you have any difficulty, let me know. I will explain you again. Okay. So in the next session, we'll try to complete all the commands like drop and delete. So sorry, delete and truncate, and also TCL commands. So they are important. We'll try to complete that commands in the next session, and we'll start the constraints also. Okay, let us start the constraints. Okay. So
I have one question. It might sound dumb, but how are the colors that change, like the font colors, do they just change automatically, or do you change them? Yeah.
No, we don't change it. So automatically it will give us.
Okay, all right.
So these are the keywords actually. Okay. Set whatever in the blue color, that is the keywords. Okay. And whatever in the green color, we can change the value according to requirement. Okay. For update, it will be pink. Okay. Right. So, and here I'm using capitals. Okay. But it is not mandatory to use uppercase. So you can use our lowercase also. So SQL is not a case sensitive. It is not at all case sensitive. Okay. Right. So okay then. So we'll see in the next session. Let us complete all the commands tomorrow, and let us start the constraints tomorrow. Constraints are very important. Okay.
Can you send me, or can you download it for me, or send me how to download that software?
Which one? Record software.
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. I will send you that installation recording.
And I also need the key. Then I never got the key.
I will send you. I think I sent you. Okay. I will send you that product key and everything, and I will send the installation recording. Just follow that. If you find any difficulty, let me know. I will join and I will. Okay. I will give some assistance. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
So if you're not able to follow that, let me know. Just drop a mail. I will join and we can install it. Okay.
Okay.
Naga, are you going to send me this recording too?
Yes, I will send this recording in 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. Just download and don't forget to download. So this link is going to expire today. Okay. So please download all the recordings. And if not able to download it, let me know. I will download it and send it to you. And so tomorrow I will send a new link. Join with that new link. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Thank you, Naga.